First and foremost, I want to welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. S. Sachidanand sir, who has wholeheartedly supported to organize this webinar to help mother and child in promoting breastfeeding to create a healthy planet. Today with us, we have two important guests in our webinar. First and foremost is Dr. Asha Benkappa, who is a very well-known name in the field of pediatrics and breastfeeding. She's been working as a promoter of breastfeeding since last 30 years. She has written two beautiful books which are very informative for every mother on lactation. She's been a ranked student and a gold medalist during her undergraduation and post-graduation time. She has been a city coordinator who was responsible for making 32 BBMP corporation hospitals as UNICEF certified baby-friendly hospitals in the year 1995. She is a recipient of Seed Grant 2001, strengthening breastfeeding at grassroots level in Southeast Asia as a part of IPFAN project along with the Netherlands Ministry of Development and Cooperation. She is a recipient of World Breastfeeding Week City Branch Award 2001. She was a World Breastfeeding Week City Coordinator in 2002 at national level and at district branch in 2003. In 2004, she has started a lactation helpline at the national level. She has got the World Breastfeeding Week Best Branch Award in 2005 from the National Breastfeeding Promotion Network of India. And she is a fellow of Indian Academy of Pediatrics, and she's been felicitated from various clubs, as well as in the Deccan Chronicle, she's been a columnist in writing various issues of mother and child health. She has given several programs in the Doordarshan as well as several local and national TV channels. She has been actually given award from Karnataka Sangha in Shivamogga as for her book on Antakarana. And she has won Kannada Shri Award, Sahitya Shri Award, and she has also won an award for the film Harivu. She has taken Dr. B.C. Rai Award from IMA, and she has been felicitated from various clubs. Today, it's our honor to have you as a guest speaker, madam. Thank you so much. And another most significant doctor, who is again a well-known doctor in the field of pediatrics, is Dr. Mallikarjun HB, who is a professor and head of pediatrics in MS Ramaya Medical College, who will be joining us as a chairperson for today's session. Sir must be joining now. I'll just see if he has joined.
He's there, he's there.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, madam. Good morning,
Good
Pallavi.
morning, sir. Very warm welcome to you. Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
Probably have missed your email, but I have a very short, I saw your CV is very long, but I have a very short, brief CV right now, which I can see in my screen.
Yeah.
Sir has many to name a few, he has won Distinguished Service Award at 5th National Conference for Services in the Field of Nutrition. He has won Best Individual Award accredited by WHO for World Breastfeeding Week celebration 2006, and Best Institutional Award in 2007. He has Best District World Breastfeeding Award Bangalore in the year 2001, 2, and 2003, and also as a baby-friendly hospital initiative accessor. He has done various courses as well as developed modules for the World Health Organization and UNICEF. And he has been a member of Karnataka State Respiratory Chapter, as well as he has developed modules for the growth monitoring nutrition for the World Health Organization and UNICEF. And he has been an international course director and a national trainer. Sir, it's very honored to you, honored for the university and to us to have you as a chairperson for today's session. A warm welcome to you. Now, I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, who is the key person for spreading the message of such beautiful message of World Breastfeeding Week, that is supporting breastfeeding for a healthier planet. So, we request you to give a foreword for today's webinar.
Thank you, Dr. Pallavi. I think I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Especially good morning to Dr. Asha Benkappa and Dr. Mallikarjun for being the faculty for this program. I also congratulate Dr. Pallavi for organizing this program. As all of us know, every year between August 1st and 7th, World Breast Week is being celebrated throughout them. And WHO and UNICEF have been very vocal in supporting this breastfeeding across the world. And we all know the advantages of breastfeeding, both to the mother and to the child. This effect, I've been associated with Dr. Asha Benkappa for several decades. I know she's the champion of, breastfeeding. Very vocally, she supports that and has been a front runner in India to support breastfeeding. And she's the right speaker today for today's program. I welcome her. And also that Dr. Mallikarjun, who is also very well known in the field of pediatrics, he's also dedicated a lot towards child nutrition, child growth, and other these things. That's his subjects of interest, and he has always been with the university to support these causes. Today, Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences is always proud to associate itself with CME programs and also programs which can disseminate to the academicians, to the postgraduates, to the faculty members, and also to the public for that matter. Breastfeeding as such, the theme of this year is probably support breastfeeding for a healthy planet, is what is the theme. And I think Dr. Asha Benkappa will touch upon these things and also will give us a lot of take-home messages for the benefit of the delegates and the postgraduates to promote breastfeeding across the country. With that few words, I once again congratulate Dr. Pallavi and team for organizing this, and also the speakers for joining us today, and all the delegates I welcome on behalf of RGHS. Thank you so much. Pallavi, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Now I welcome Dr. Mallikarjun, sir, to take the session.
Pallavi, am I audible now?
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Yeah, my job is, with the stalwarts here, Dr. Asha Benkappa and Sachidanand sir himself, who has been, in my larger interest to give, the justice to the future of our infant and young child feeding practices. Sir, I thank you wholeheartedly for giving me this opportunity to be associated with our champion, as you rightly said, Asha Benkappa madam. I have been associated with madam from almost 3 decades since my undergraduate days, sir. And Pallavi, of course, she was with us for her post-graduation. And then she is a student of Asha Benkappa madam. I think much needs to be, done, with this wonderful team. And we will move ahead with the team. Asha Benkappa madam is, just now Pallavi has given all the details, and she is a champion, as sir said. She has a lot of awards and accolades into her name, and she has authored many books, and and she is a well-known pediatrician, Dr. Benkappa's daughter, who has added crown to his name and brought many laurels to one sir and his family and to the family of nutrition. Madam, hearty congratulations for all your achievement. And then, in brief, everyone knows Madam, and I think without wasting much time, I will, request Madam to move on to her, topics. Pallavi, as such, ಅವಳು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹರಳು ಹುಳಿದಂಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋ ಹುಡುಗಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಮ್ಮ one of the world breastfeeding workshop ಅನ್ನ she was the MC. I still remember. She has forgotten and she called. I told her, Pallavi, I think you are mercurial in your Kannada language as well as in your activities. Over to both of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So much. Yes. Thank you.
Now I think Madam will take over now.
So I will finish the introduction and the themes of this thing, and then I will
Please.
hand it over more in depth. Yes. My screen, my CPT is see on the screen. Yes. So, once again, a warm welcome to all the attendees and to the speakers and chairpersons and our Honorable Vice Chancellor to the session. Every year, we must be wondering why breastfeeding is such a phenomenon, and why every year we do this celebration to reiterate this fact, isn't it? Does anybody tell a buffalo to feed its calf? Does anybody tell lion, please breastfeed your cubs? Or to a dog, please feed your puppies? To a cat, feed your kittens? But we need to tell every year and now and then for the most intelligent species on this earth to feed its baby. Why? Can you see? We have gone against the nature, where every mammal is feeding its babies happily. We have gone against the nature to nurture our baby without breast milk, but with the formula or with the bottle feed. So what is happening? We are supposed to be, our professor used to tell always in Kannada, ಹಸುವಿನ ಹಾಲು ಕರುವಿಗೆ, ತಾಯಿಯ ಹಾಲು ಮಗುವಿಗೆ. We are supposed to feed the most natural nectar, amrita, to the baby, but instead we have gone against the nature and feeding the baby with the formula in a bottle and making a planet unhealthy by creating an unhealthy generation. What is that? Such a wonderful thing this breast milk has. What is that? It is called as amrita, the nectar, which can make the amrita is basically supposed to make the people never die. So that is what this breast milk contains. It has all the vitamins, all the nutrients, the carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, hormones, immune cells, everything in the right quantity, but also in the right proportion, which is required for the growth of the baby. Do you know? It is such a wonderful thing that the breast milk contains these immunoglobulins, white blood cells, and macrophages, which are produced in the breast milk, can actually kill many pathogens in the body of the babies. can protect them from thousands of infections. And especially during this pandemic, where there is a crisis, where there is a lot of stress on protecting the kids from infections, it is very, very essential to support breastfeeding, because World Health Organization says it is very safe and it is very essential to breastfeed the baby, because the breast milk contains a lot of immunoglobulins. Here, if you can see this, that human cholesterol, which is produced in the first 48 to 72 hours, contains highest amount of immunoglobulins, especially IgA, which coats the human epithelium, respiratory and the gut epithelium, protecting babies against many respiratory and diarrheal infections. So, by breastfeeding, you are boosting the immunity of the babies, maybe even against COVID. So please, during COVID-19 pandemic also, it is very essential to pass on these immunoglobulins to the babies. Continue to breastfeed. Not only these immunoglobulins, you know what? The breast milk contains these long chain fatty acids, especially what I need to mention, docosahexaenoic acid and arachidoic acid, which are very important in the development of white matter, which increases the myelination of the cells, neuronal cells. Hence, the study always has shown that breastfeeding increases the white matter density in the young brains. The baby's brain, actually, when it is at birth, it is quarter the size of the adult. But within 1 year, the baby's brain doubles in size, and it grows 90% by the age of 5 years. And if during this period, because of the breastfeeding, the white matter density increases, there is more connectivity, networking happens in the brains, as shown in the picture 2, which increases the cognitive skills, the language skills, makes the child more positive, to develop more positive approach towards the life. And it is such an important thing that it makes the baby which is breastfed 4 times more IQ, will have 4 times more IQ than a non-breastfed child. Isn't it a contribution for a healthy child? And now, it is now the global burden of the disease for the 2030 projection. It is telling that obesity will be the major, not only the risk factor, it will be a disease. According to the recent studies, nearly 50% of global population will be obese by 2030. And obesity, which is a major risk factor for diabetes or cardiovascular diseases, or even for endometrial cancer, will add so much to the medical cost. Will kind of, by this obesity, it's going to make our entire humankind unhealthy. We are going to contribute only to the sick population on this planet. How can we stop this? The solution is supporting breastfeeding. Breastfeeding has shown that, the studies have shown that the breastfed babies are not obese, and 30% reduction in the risk of obesity because of the breastfeeding. The longer the duration of the breastfeeding, lesser the obesity or overweight. just want to tell you one, a bonding, which is very, very important, because health doesn't mean absence of disease. Health is a physical, mental, and social as well as spiritual well-being. The breastfeeding is such a magical, it creates such a strong bonding between a mother and child. And especially if there is early initiation of breastfeeding, that is within a delivery, when the oxytocin level is at its peak, the mother and child bonding. You know what? Terrorists use this oxytocin hormone to create a bonding of terrorists with their religion, to fight with, to can kind of make them more stronger, emotionally bond to certain values. And the same hormone is secreted and it's at peak soon after the delivery, which helps for the baby and the mother to bond well. It's not only for the child have a better social skills, restlessness, more secure, more self-reliant. At the same time, the mother, it's quite common nowadays. We are hearing a lot of this postpartum depression soon after delivery, after few weeks after delivery. This particular breastfeeding reduces postpartum depression by 50%. So it is not only for the babies, it is quite beneficial for the mothers too. And how mother can be healthy by breastfeeding? As I told you, it prevents postpartum depression. It relaxes the mother. The oxytocin hormones relieves her stress. And oxytocin is very, very important for the involution of the uterus and to stop a postpartum hemorrhage, which is one of the major risk factor for the death of the mother after the delivery. So we can reduce nearly every year 30,000 maternal deaths by promoting breastfeeding. And as I told you, obesity is the major disease and a risk factor for which is making almost half of the global population unhealthy in the coming years. And the mother's major worry after delivery, after pregnancy, is to shed weight. And what is the best way to do that? Is by breastfeeding. She can actually reduce, she can come back to her pre-pregnancy weight, completely, if she exclusively breastfeeds the baby for 6 months and continues to breastfeed with her complementary diet for 2 years and beyond. She can burn extra 500 calories every day just by sitting and breastfeeding her baby. And you all must be aware that breastfeeding, if she is exclusively breastfed, then it actually acts as a natural contraceptive by postponing her ovulation. Not only the obesity, which is making the population sick, we are hearing a lot of incidents of breast cancer and ovarian cancer among women. And by breastfeeding, women can actually get rid of 30% of risk. Nearly 30% of study shows that 30% of risk of breast cancer and ovarian cancer can be reduced by breastfeeding. Now, this is all about the health of the baby and the mother. But how is it connected to a healthier planet? Of course, if a child is healthy, which is the cornerstone of the healthy society, a healthier nation, and in larger picture, a healthier planet. But not only this, by not breastfeeding, we are actually killing our mother earth, who is nurturing us, who is taking care of us. We are throttling her neck. We are actually killing our mother earth. How? Do you wonder? Just give me a moment. Open the slides. Some problem with my PowerPoint, but nevertheless. This picture I got it from the website Upbeat Farm, which shows so beautifully we are throttling the neck of Mother Earth through a plastic bottle which is filled with the formula and a rubber nipple of that bottle. How? Do you wonder how are we spoiling? Nowadays, we are actually very pro. Everybody wants to be organic, isn't it? We want to eat organic food. We want to eat organic fruits, organic vegetables. We want to wear organic. We want to live organic. But there is so much declining in the rates of breastfeeding. It's very shocking to know that across the globe, the breastfeeding rate is hardly 30 to 40%. It's quite saddening. Why is it happening? Because the corporates, the billion-dollar industry of formula, the baby milk products million industry, is aggressively marketing that people are resorting to this formula. You know, it is almost the business of this. It is quite astonishing to know that in US, this formula market is a $70 billion, the business every year turnover. That is only in the year 2017, and every year it triples. Imagine how much of money they are making. As a result, the breastfeeding rate has declined. And to produce this formula, they have to get millions and liters of milk, and that milk is boiled to 200 degrees centigrade of temperature to desiccate that milk into powder. For that, imagine how much of fuel is required. Either the fuel in terms of coal or maybe any non-renewable fuel is used to prepare this formula. Again, fuel is used, again transporting that formula from manufactured side to the consumer side. The fuel also used in sealing these tins. The powder is sealed in aluminum tins, which is highly poisonous. And how do you think this daily forming happens? How do they get? One is usage of this non-renewable resource fuel. which adds so much of carbon footprint to our beautiful green planet, which is no more a green planet now. And it adds to water scarcity. How? As I told you, gallons of milk is used to produce a very little amount of desiccated formula. And to raise so many cows, you need a huge pastures of green lands. For that, you need so much of water. You need water to maintain those dairies and the milk parlors. You need water. Again, every time, every child is is formula fed for 2-3 years. Every session, the mother has to boil that bottle in a sterilizer usually. She has to reconstitute a milk in a water, and again she needs water to wash that water. Imagine every single day where the world population is increasing, and if every person who is born in India alone, there is 77,575 births happen every single day, and in world around 3,53,000 births per day, and every child consumes so much of water. And every child born takes up a plastic bottle with a rubber nipple. Imagine the waste generated. Imagine the waste generated, and imagine the waste we are going to add on our Mother Earth, which take millions of years to degenerate and might not degenerate. What is happening? What is happening? We are adding so much of greenhouse gases, aluminium, tin, arsenic, cadmium, which in turn will come in the form of water when you prepare a formula to the baby. That is highly genotoxic, nephrotoxic, and carcinogen. It reduces the reproductive capacity of the future generation. It brings the sperm count down. Is this what we want? We are not only destroying the healthy planet, we are destroying the health of our future coming generations. We are leaving a huge gap in our green earth and with the huge carbon print. How we could have stopped it? Very simple, isn't it? It's not just the greenhouse gases which are trapping the heat on this earth, rising the temperature. It is no more a global warming. Please, I'm stressing, it is not a global warming. It is, the World Health Organization says, it is now actually global heating. It is no more a climate change. It is actually climate emergency. You can't sit back and relax and listen to the damage what we are done to the earth and just see that, okay, glaciers are melting and sea levels are rising and only the polar bear is suffering. No, it is our babies. The future generation of this planet will suffer more with the floods, the typhoons, the storms, the disasters, which will happen, are happening because of the damage what we are creating due to we going against nature. Instead, by supporting breastfeed, which is natural, doesn't need any fuel to manufacture this, doesn't need any water to constitute this. Breastfeeding is available wherever the mother and baby is there, all the time, in whatever the amount it wants. Breastfeeding is hygienic. Breast milk has all the nutrients which is required for the baby. Breastfeeding is sustainable. Breastfeeding is renewable. Breastfeeding is very healthy for the mother and the child and for the Mother Earth who's nurturing us. So I request not only a woman, it is not a responsibility of a woman alone, it is a responsibility of a man, a mother, a mother-in-law, grandmother, any friend, health organization, the organizations which give work to the woman to support breastfeeding, to make this planet healthy and to keep our generation healthy. Thank you so much. Now, my talk is over. Now, I would like to I'll request Dr. Asha Benkappa Madam to enlighten the attendees with her immense knowledge and perspective.
Good morning to all of you. At the outset, I'm here when she did her ICMR research under me. Today, we have entered an era where we keep asking, can you see me? Do you hear me? Are my PowerPoints visible? Sorry, we have got disconnected. But unfortunately, breastfeeding is an uninterrupted process. Breastfeeding is emotional, visual, olfactory, tactile, and gustatory. I feel so distant and lost to be talking to you through this, and the only forum that's going to stay with us for some more years. And one more great question people ask is, will the pandemic end and when will it end? When can I go out and do everything? So you'll have to bear with me if I underperform in reaching the message, because just as Pallavi's talk was interrupted 11 times, I do not know how many times I will be interrupted. So with this, we'll move on to my PowerPoints. Pallavi, your system has to close itself to share my PowerPoints.
Okay, ma'am. Fine. I'll just exit that.
ಸೊ ಈ ವರ್ಷದ ಘೋಷಣೆ ಸ್ತನ್ಯಪಾನವನ್ನು ರಕ್ಷಿಸಿ ಭೂಮನ ಪ್ರೋತ್ಸಾಹಿಸಿ ಅಥವಾ ಬೆಂಬಲಿಸಿ ಭೂಮಂಡಲವನ್ನು ರಕ್ಷಿಸಿ. Again, you are on the screen.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Fine now.
Dr. Pallavi did a wonderful introduction on the theme that is support breastfeeding for a healthier planet. I must stress that we don't have another planet. We just have only one planet. This one? We just have only one planet for all of us, and all of us need to protect that one planet. Breastfeeding is in doldrums. Breastfeeding is threatened.
Madam, voice is little echoing. Ma'am, voice is echoing.
Now, can you hear me?
Madam, just reduce the volume, madam. Base volume is more.
Where is it volume?
Voice is.
Where is the volume?
Voice.
voice. Now, still reduce?
Yeah, ma'am, little bit.
Now? Yeah?
Little more, madam.
You want more or less?
Less. Reduce it, madam.
Little less.
You reduce it for 38.
No, you can make it 25, madam. It is still echoing.
Now?
Better. Some more reduction is required.
Still more, ma'am. Still down.
Okay, now?
Better, madam. Much better. Little more reduction will be wonderful.
Now?
Much better, madam.
Okay.
Still 2-3 points less, ma'am. 2-3 points less. Little less.
More.
Okay.
Little less,
more
ma'am. Little less. Little less. Yes, ma'am, now.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, 1 second.
ಈಗ 32 ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಇನ್ನ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡ್ಲಾ
ಮಾಡಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಕೋ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ
30 ನೋಡಿ ಈಗ 19 ಈಗ
ಇದೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ
ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡ್ಲಾ 16 ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಈಗ ಮಾಡು 12 ಮಾಡಮ್ಮ 13 12 ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ
ಬೆಟರ್
ಓಕೆ So breastfeeding education extremely important in giving accurate information. Timely counseling. It's not one-time counseling and be done with it. A breastfeeding mother in the correct confused surroundings needs several counseling. Recently, Lawrence Grummer of the World Health Organization said that we may need to do a minimum of 6 counseling for breastfeeding to reach some levels by 2030. Building confidence. Perpetually, we are faced with a situation where there is not enough milk. Unfortunately, breast milk cannot be seen like our counterpart, that's a bottle. I always used to tell my undergraduate students in Bangalore Medical College, all of you will join me in prayers and pray to God that in the next generation of mothers will have a transparent breast so that we can do away with this problem of not enough milk. Assistance to initiate breastfeeding within 1 hour of birth, I am re-stressing what Pallavi said, is extremely crucial to bring down the failure rates in breastfeeding. Help and support to achieve baby's good sucking position to a mother who has just delivered. The process of giving birth to a baby is not easy. Women only know what it is. Assistance and solution for breastfeeding problems. Now we are moved into an era of COVID. COVID is destroying the delicate balance, the minute success we had made with breastfeeding. The most important component in COVID management is the stress the mother is going through. We may have to do enhanced counseling in COVID situations to make her breastfeed. Sonika, you move ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ PPTs. Breastfeeding as universalized mankind. It's a fascinating thing about it. In everything, we are having the rich people, the middle class, and the poor people. But as far as breastfeeding is concerned, it is the same across all human beings, across the planet, as far as Homo sapiens are concerned. There's a big lacunae in training and imparting knowledge to the skills to the expert healthcare workers. Breastfeeding talks and workshops. Currently, we just have 40 participants for all the efforts that Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences has put in for this webinar. So they feel it's not at all a priority. There's a lot of noise during the week and then completely disappears once the week ends. There's a lot of business between the breast and the baby. Just now she was telling you $17 billion is invested in formula industry. Politics in breastfeeding. You'll be surprised that there's so much of politics. It's a women's issue. Women are not allowed to come to the forefront. Men have taken over breastfeeding as far as the state is concerned. And this is something which is very astonishing. And breastfeeding needs commitment and dedication. We need to protect, promote, and support breastfeeding. What happens? Results of inadequate breastfeeding annually. Exclusive breastfeeding is only 55%, despite 81% of institutional deliveries. Breastfeeding within 1 hour is only 41%, and continued breastfeeding is just half of it. And we know the preventable child deaths by breastfeeding is 34.7 million cases of diarrhea, pneumonia. Pallavi very, very lucidly told us about the obesity pandemic, which is called as a globesity. Health impact on mothers, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, all this was told by Dr. Pallavi, but I'm re-emphasizing these issues. What is the target for India in 2025? From our present 54.9%, we want to enhance it to 65.7% by 2025. Just imagine, we need 10 years to enhance the present 54.9% to 65.7%, 10% rate. And the COVID pandemic, one very unfortunately, has brought fresh challenges, and I will tell you that the rates will come down tremendously. Anyway, all of us know the structure of the breast, which we all know. I just want to emphasize that many mothers are very distracted by the nipple. Nipple has absolutely nothing to do with breast milk outflow. It is the entire areola that should get into the baby's mouth. Many mothers come and tell me that their nipple is small, flat, and protracted, retractile. Any nipple issues, nothing to do with breastfeeding. And there's a lot of research now going on into this, what is called as Montgomery glands. These are fantastic lubrications. So they produce hormones. They produce responsible for the olfactory turn of the baby towards the breast. And then it also synthesizes anti-infective properties. So there are two hormones. One is prolactin and oxytocin. Prolactin is for production. Oxytocin is for milk lay down reflex. So the most important skill is this entire black portion should get into the baby's mouth. Unfortunately, I'm not able to do a demo. Many mothers do the cigarette hold or the C hold and prevent the milk flowing into the baby's mouth for fear that the babies may get stuff choked in the nose. Whenever we're talking about the milk producing reflex, we know that whenever the baby is put to the breast in the right technique, the impulses from the baby's suckling. The suckling means is an emotional component in breastfeeding, sends messages to the anterior pituitary to produce prolactin, and this induces the peripheral apparatus to produce milk. It's like having a costly car but not knowing how to drive. You are endowed with all the gadgets and accessories for breastfeeding, but if you don't know the technique, then you are in deep trouble. Then there is the oxytocin, the milk ejection reflex. It's the most important and crucial hormone in breastfeeding. This is a picture like in breastfeeding, the magic of a hug is extremely important. Whenever a mother is breastfeeding, her hands will be near the interscapular place where we say it is the oxytocin massage or rub. So when she is feeding, when she is touching the interscapular area, you are promoting oxytocin release. At the same time, a mother who is breastfeeding is cuddled, and if you just do a gentle massage on her back, it will relax her so much and milk will just flow. So baby has lots of reflexes, and most of these reflexes have started in the womb, and baby is an expert at swallowing reflex. The whole problem is the knowledge gap, because in skill, so advantages of breastfeeding very well elucidated by Pallavi. I will not repeat it, but at the same time, there are a lot of immeasurable benefits to the mother, the baby, to that family, community, society, country, the planet, ultimately. Human milk is specifically adapted to the needs of newborn. Immature immune system is protection. Unique bioactive factors. There are supposed to be 121 bioactive factors. Colostrum is a welcome drink to the newborn. There have been recent studies where they have said just applying colostrum on the lip of the baby and inside the oral cavity will prevent a lot of infective organisms entering the body, including COVID. Timing of introduction of colostrum is a key factor in postnatal intestinal development. I've always said that colostrum is a liquid gold in the golden hour. Colostrum cannot be seen, cannot be squeezed, can only be sucked. Peak production of 150 milligrams per deciliter in the first 3 days of birth. It continues to produce, reaching 5 milligrams per deciliter at 6 weeks of birth. So the breast in pregnancy was very comfortable with the hormones, the estrogen and the progesterone, while the lactating breast has prolactin and oxytocin. While the two pregnancy hormones want to keep the breast milk inside, thinking that the baby is not delivered, prolactin and oxytocin want the baby to eat the milk. So these two hormones are at war in harmony, and it takes a little bit of a time to see the full-fledged milk flow, which happens on the second or third day. But in the meantime, even a few drops of colostrum is sufficient food for the baby, and in that 48 hours, lot of mess is happening, and we are polluting the very sterile, gentle gut of the baby on the imagining that we don't have enough milk, baby will die of hunger, hypoglycemia, etc. Breastfeeding is a confidence trick. I always tell the story of this wonderful mother who was a garment worker, and just before delivery, her husband and she had a domestic dispute, and he poured kerosene on her. She came to me with a burned breast and she said, "Madam, I have to breastfeed." Was just peeling off. But believe it or not, she successfully breastfed this child. The mother and child are now settled in London Slough, and her son finished pediatrics. These are all success stories, anecdotal. But what is the message here? Breastfeeding is a confidence trick. Timely counseling, its updated version, now is 6 times as per Lawrence Grammar in the recent webinar I attended. The first 48 hours of birth till the transit milk, mature milk and full-blown breast milk production starts. So one should understand the newborn stomach capacity at various ages. You know, it is not that everybody will be thinking in the bottle you're seeing 60 ml of milk going down the baby's gut, but here you're not seeing it. And the whole nature or creator has synchronized it in such a way. It's a supply demand situation. And as the baby starts growing, the milk starts pouring, and we have enough and more milk for even 3 babies or sex triplets. Just giving colostrum. Colostrum is, you can write a book on colostrum. There are a lot of myths and misconceptions about colostrum. but it is the first drink, the welcome drink, the most important component of breast milk. The moment you give colostrum to the baby, it is from the mouth, from the oral cavity, esophagus, 22 meters of your gastrointestinal tract to the rectum, you have a beautiful lifelong lining. While women stitch their blouses with lining so that it doesn't tear, that's exactly what is happening to the mucous membrane of the human intestinal system, that colostrum paints it. It's antibody rich. It has got white cells, positive actions. A term baby has 10 grams of meconium at birth. The moment you give this 150 milligrams per deciliter of charged fat, there's so much of clearing. Sometimes mother come and say, so much of loose motions my child is having. This is called as physiological diarrhea, and it is so acidic, it burns the perianal area. But all this is to clear the meconium. It prevents jaundice because every milligram of meconium will give you 1 milligram of bilirubin. Growth factors. It has got innumerable growth factors rich in vitamin A. Therefore, immunize a vitamin A prophylaxis program starts along with measles at 9 months till such time it is colostrum in the breastfed baby which is protecting it. And vitamin K rich prevents bleeding in the newborn. The variations in the composition of breast milk. Just today, I read an article by Ruth who has written about breastfeeding, and she mentioned about fore milk and hind milk. This should not be percolated to the general population because it's for us to remember that a complete feed needs fore milk and hind milk. Fore milk is rich in water. It satisfies the thirst of the baby, while as hind milk is rich in fat and satiety. So it puts the baby to sleep. All this are lacking in a formula-fed or a bottle-fed baby. So the fats in breast milk are just not fats. They have got essential fatty acids. It also got an enzyme lipase to digest it. Docosahexaenic acid that Pallavi was talking about is present in breast milk, which prevents coronary heart disease. Unlike the cow's milk, which contains a lot of no essential fatty acids, no enzyme lipase, but lots of fat which goes undigested, and many a time the children will puke. Then there is a differences in the quality of the proteins in different milk. Every component of breast milk is charged with protection. It has got innumerable anti-infective properties. It's got whey proteins, and it has got 35% casein. So it's easy to digest. Casein means curd-like. Earlier days, whenever young children used to have diarrhea in my village, my grandmother used to put lemon and to the milk and remove the thick curd and give us the whey protein. Whey protein is a digestible protein. Look at the amount of casein in cow's milk. This casein is 80%, and the poor child suffers so much because of this. There's so much of iron in breast milk, whereas cow's milk iron, though 50 to 70 micrograms per 100, most of it gets absorbed. And only 10% of iron, similar iron content in both the milk, but absorption of breast milk iron is 50%. Premature and low birth weight babies. It's so nice when a preterm baby is given, when a mother gives birth to a preterm baby, the protein content of the preterm baby is increased. She wants her creation to catch up because it came a little too early. So the preterm breast milk is still more with immunological properties and growth factors. So this is my experience in Indira Gandhi Institute of Child Health, where we got a mother after a this was a precious pregnancy and a precious delivery. This fellow was just 440 grams, and believe it or not, he was exclusively breastfed. And the first time, they were all fascinated that such a thing can happen and the child is doing well. Breastfeeding and low birth weight babies, remember, it prevents hypothermia because they do not have the fat insulation of a term baby, hypoglycemia, and other metabolic derangements. The breast milk is a right concoction, right cocktail of things for that preterm baby. It protects from sepsis and necrotizing enterocolitis. Specific products are there to prevent necrotizing enterocolitis and sepsis. Sepsis optimizes growth and development, reduces mortality. A breastfed baby's brain at birth is 71% developed. The brain continues to develop at a rapid pace till the age of 3 years, and it is at 85% brain growth. She showed a beautiful picture of neuronal migration, myelination, arborization, and growth of the brain. So the growth factors for this brain are all dependent on the bioactive factors present in breast milk. Very, very crucial to breastfeed within 1 hour of birth, because when the mother is pregnant, towards the last trimester of her pregnancy, her nipple and areola become hyperpigmented. It has got a strong message that when the baby is born, the moment the baby is born, the baby should be put between the mother's breast, because the temperature of the mother's breast is equivalent to the temperature of the amniotic fluid. The baby has come from a warm atmosphere to cold surroundings. So when the baby is put between the breast, we call it the skin to skin contact, the baby looks around and he finds this hyperpigmented nipple and areola guiding the baby towards the breast. The distance between the birth canal or the vagina to the breast is 18 inches long, and with exceptions, the umbilical cord is 18 inches long. The moment the baby just nibbles at the breast, oxytocin is produced, uterus is contracted, placenta is expelled, and postpartum bleeding is prevented. When the mother touches the baby, there is all the 5 special senses that are stimulated. In this picture, it is my copyright. I made the artist do this, but the mother needs help. She needs helping hands. And once the skin of the mother touches the baby's skin, there is enormous microbiomes that transfer between the two of them and gives protection to the skin. And there's something called as HDP, human defense proteins, are available in numerous quantities on the baby's skin. So we are talking about frequency of breastfeeding. We say it is baby-led, mother-led, we will leave it to them. But certainly, cock has no role in breastfeeding. A minimum of 8 feeds to 12 feeds per, a minimum of 8 feeds to 12 feeds till the baby is 6 weeks old. Subsequently, the nursing couple will adjust. Just like in any marriages, initially we'll have so many issues, subsequently it settles down. So the breast becomes mature, the baby has learned how to feed, and they settle down at the end of 6 weeks. So let's insist on 8 to 12 times in 24 hours. If you don't breastfeed, and if the duration of a breastfeed is more than 3 hours, then there is something called as feedback inhibitors of lactation. Therefore, it's very crucial, very important that the breast should be emptied every 3 hours. This is especially applicable to mothers who have their babies in the NICU and working women. So getting enough milk is $1 million question. I always used to tell my students, after 6 days of birth, baby should pass 6 times urination for 6 weeks. Subsequently, it is a weight gain that is more important. So, initial weight loss should not be more than 8% of birth weight in first 3 to 4 days. Baby should return to birth weight in 7 to 10 days. I was just talking to you. It coincides with the mother's milk coming in the local jargon. Gradually decreases over the first 2 to 3 days, increases as the intake of milk increases. Frequency, I just told you that formula. So this is the gold standard of making people understand about this. I'm going to skip this because it's too advanced science when we talk about breastfeeding. So the golden hour or the critical hour, the reflex, I just now re-emphasize, hyperpigmentation of nipple and areola, the catecholamine surge. When the mother is doing bearing down, she produces a lot of catecholamine. The same catecholamines reach the baby And both of them are alert and active, and a lot of implications on this catecholamine search in the first 1 hour of life. And I finished all that. And also the temperature regulation happens. Development of the brain facilitates special senses, and sucking reflex in the first 4 to 6 hours is the strongest in the first 4 to 6 hours. So skin to skin contact, the first hour of birth. Now we have come up with 9 instinctive stages, and these and the behaviors are all advanced science that has been reported recently. And this is how the baby moves. We were in a hurry to put the baby to the breast within 1 hour of birth. But now we should allow him to take his own time, and he goes through this 9 stages in this 1 hour. So this was my lactation rounds in Vani Vilas, where we used to do every Thursday, go and check all the babies delivered from the clean labor ward, tubectomy, eclampsia labor ward, and take their list, go to those individual mothers and put those babies to the breast and ensure they were put to breast within 1 hour. It would not happen all the time. And the happiness the mothers would have and the success with those healthy babies is something that you cannot imagine. Now, out of the baby-friendly hospital initiatives, new movement is happening. The lot of emphasis is now on step 4. First 2 steps are critical management issues, while the rest of the steps are clinical issues. Lots and lots of emphasis on step 4. So breastfeeding at night, many a times women have been told to get up and feed. For heaven's sake, don't do that. A baby who is 1.8 kgs can happily feed next to the mother. Many a times, this making the mother sit up and feed sort of makes her sleepless. She gets irritated, agitated, tense, and that again comes in the way of breastfeeding. So there is no need for that. Whenever a baby is breastfeeding, he's using 6 of the 12 cranial nerves, 30 bones, and 66 muscles, according to Dr. Linda Smith, a universal lactation expert. I don't think there should be any issues with choking. It is only concern is a baby who is less than 1.8 kgs. Pallavi did mention about postnatal depression. So one of the several causes is the sleeplessness. The birth of the baby should not disturb the circadian rhythm of sleep. Not enough milk syndrome is a universal phenomenon, and many a times, there's a recent paper on this, and many a times this is perceived and not a definite milk syndrome. You'll be surprised to know that the average Indian mother lactates for a period of 2 years and is estimated to produce 246 liters of milk during this period. It's just to emphasize that we do not need any other milk but only the mother's milk. There are 2 very, very important skills in breastfeeding. We call them the attachment and the positioning. And bring the baby to the breast and not the breast to the baby. I just want to tell here, the mothers put a hand here thinking that the baby will have breathing issues and he will get smothered. The most important is the chin should touch the breast. Therefore, the mother's hand should go way below and not bring it between the baby and the breast. So correct positioning is the head, neck and body should be in one line, and baby's chest should touch the chest of the mother. Baby's abdomen should touch the lower part of it will touch the abdomen of the mother. And many a times I'll be telling the mothers this Barnantana, Viparita Kaile. So Barnantana has led to a lot of Barnanti, Sondu or postnatal depression because of all the innumerable restrictions. I keep telling them, I'm fascinated by the royal family of UK. Kate Middleton, when she delivered her first baby, within 2 hours, she came onto the balcony. And I've been to UK and I know how cold it is. Nothing she wore, and look at her children. All her 3 children are exclusively breastfed and not with the other princes of UK. So this is the correct breastfeeding technique. How it is touching, okay? Tickle the baby's lip with the nipple to stimulate the baby to open the mouth. Again, it is so fascinating. The nipple of a woman is pointed outwards and downwards. So when she puts the nipple into the baby's breast, it goes right inside, stimulates the soft palate to start sucking. So every component of breastfeeding is very, very important. Every skill in the mother and every skill in the baby. And you know what? People think their baby will just become one, should go on gaining weight. Remember, at different parts of our growth, different organ systems grow. So, if the birth from birth to 2 months, it's 800 grams per week, subsequently 600 and 200 grams per week. Don't expect the baby to put on weight. So the Breastfeeding Promotion Network of India has come with a 4-in-1 program from the earlier 3-in-1 program where they talk about growth monitoring. So it's imperative that we teach every mother the plot when you do the growth monitoring and tell her visually your growth, the baby is not doing very well. And many times they'll say, my baby is looking very skinny compared to that baby, and so many things. So reassure them with an objective growth scales. Then we have sometimes there is a feeding marathon, appetite spurts and growth spurts. This happen at 2 to 3 weeks, 6 weeks, and 3 months. So illness in the mother, any illness in the mother. Pallavi talked about the secretory IgA. Any illness in the mother, she produced antibodies against that illness. And when the baby is put to the breast, those antibodies, predominantly secretory IgA, reach the baby. Never separate the mother and the baby. Who is going to be the caretaker for this baby? So what happens when the mother the baby will get the caretaker's infections? So any medication, even in the HIV situation and COVID situation, mothers have to breastfeed with precautions, like we used to talk about during the HIV epidemic or pandemic. So cesarean section, tubectomy, all mothers can exclusively breastfeed. And a sick mother, if she's sick, she also has to breastfeed. And this sick mother will need help because till she recovers, the situation of COVID now. Sick babies and breastfeeding. So what are the situations and how do we go about feeding? But let me just mention about the calories. I have many high-fi women coming to me seeking help from the lactation helpline. They keep saying, Doc, I want to lose weight. So I tell them, well-nourished women need not eat extra calories of that 500 required for the malnourished women. And I tell them by breastfeeding, you're burning 700 calories a day and 200 calories comes from our body and it gets you back into shape. Whenever they ask them how much calories do you burn in the gym, doc, around 250, they say. But madam, if you breastfeed, at least for 6 weeks, please ensure that you breastfeed. And after 6 weeks, continue breastfeeding and you can start your gym activities because all the organ systems will settle down, baby will settle down, and she can take the baby to the gym or express the breast milk and go. Whatever, breastfeeding certainly brings the mother back to shape. And why should we continue to breastfeed for 2 years? And these are the reasons, because we have sufficient milk and breastfeeding is 40% of the total calories required in the second year of life. We're talking about mothers in disasters, especially the COVID. I'm not emphasizing too much of COVID because 95% of the deliveries, let's pray and hope, are bereft of COVID. Those 5% needs concentrated actions and extraordinary commitments to tide over this crisis. I don't want a pool of unbreastfed babies to be added and bring down the little success we made in enhancing breastfeeding rates. This is what happens in the first postnatal visit, then the first newborn visit, and then Q feeding, not required to be told to the mothers. But this is we started with demand feeding, restricted feeding, unrestricted, baby leg, mother leg. Now we're talking about Q feeding, not important as far as the mothers are concerned. It is just an academic interest for all of us. And crying does not necessarily mean that your baby is hungry. There is something, just like we talk about, pediatricians always talk about milestones. We do have something called as breastfeeding milestones, and how frustrating it is. We look at the weight, the stools, and the feeding pattern from birth to 2 months, and the other one is 6 months of weight. So many things are happening. This should be on the pediatrician's desk. He should look at it and tell the mothers, like this is this, and that's what is happening now. So this breastfeeding developmental milestones continue, and then each baby has a different signature style according to Ruth Lawrence, the 5 signature styles. So some mothers will say, my baby finished the feed in 2 minutes. And another mother will say, my baby is taking a longer time. There is no fixed time. There are pediatricians who have told the mother that you have to feed 30 minutes on one breast and 30 minutes on the other breast. And if you have to feed the baby 10 times, 400 minutes, you calculate how frustrating it is. Please do not have such dikkat. It is left to the mother and the baby. Supposing you're all given a cup of coffee, each one of us have a different way of drinking that coffee and take different times. So I want to specifically stress on the suckling hypoglycemia. Many of the corporate hospitals, I do not know why, they go on doing RBS every 3-4 hours, and then they say the sugar is very low, therefore we'll have to give formula, and that's when the anxiety sets in. That's when the mother becomes underconfident, distrust, depressed. So please, there is nature has made the baby go through the suckling hypoglycemia functionally and metabolically programmed from transition from intrauterine to extrauterine environment. There's something called as a baby's breast. If he's got some organisms in his mouth, those organisms enter through the nipple and it reaches this wonderful factory, and for the next feed, mother produces antibodies against that infection the baby has, just as the mother produces antibodies for her illness and transmits it to the baby. Now, unfortunately, the microbiomes in the baby's gut are disappearing at a rapid rate because of cesarean births, overuse milk. And all this disappearance has caused the problems which was told by Dr. Pallavi. So I'll skip the microbiome theory. This is about the COVID-19 epidemic. And thank you. Before one last sentence, using breast milk substitutes is like using. Let us leave something for our children. Those of you who are good readers, please read When the Bow Breaks, because we have to be concerned about the future generation. Otherwise, the planet will be eroded, destroyed, and we'll have nothing left for them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking time and giving, sharing your experience and immense knowledge on breastfeeding. And though attendees are very minimal, 40 as you told, this doesn't interest people because it's free of cost. Probably if we, anything which probably charges the $1 million industry of formula may interest people because it's quite attracting, and which is quite natural and cost free is not interesting to people. But nevertheless, the YouTube video what the RGHS will be sharing, I hope it will reach many and thousands of mothers and children will get benefit with this knowledge. Now I request Dr. Mallikarjun sir to share his thoughts on breastfeeding.
Wonderful. Thank you, Pallavi. It was a wonderful session. As you know, Madam has spoken on the practical aspects, what needs to be done, and you know her dynamism. She doesn't compromise anything for doing the best for the breastfeeding, in turn for the babies who need that naturally. I think being a mother herself, I think none other than Madam would have done a better job or justice for this. As you rightly said, that is a concern. Many think it is natural, what is there in that. But when it comes to practice, the mother's one who delivers, one who is in that situation only will realize how challenging it is, how difficult it is, how much of, Madam rightly said, help and support is required for these mothers. And she said, we have only one planet, we must save it. And she also mentioned about the COVID stress. I think I will also not speak much about it, because more we speak about the stress, people will start speaking about the stress and they become more stressed. It is only to understand the situation that the COVID and the stress, the separation of the baby from the mother is the one which is going to cause more stress. The solution is the baby should be breastfed, should be 6 feet away from the mother with all the natural precautions for COVID. And then with the help of a healthy caregiver with PPE, mask, sanitizer, the breastfeeding should be continued as advised and supported by UNICEF, WHO, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and of course, all of us, the activists, including you, me, Madam, and our Honorable Vice Chancellor, and the whole team is with us. And two things I would like to stress here. Madam said 3 times babies who are on 1.8 kg and more can breastfeed. Madam, that's a wonderful message, even for the doctors, the pediatricians. The reason is the moment the birth weight is less than 2.5, babies are put in NICU. I think that's a wonderful point, even for me. You stressed on that. I have realized in our day-to-day practice, definitely your experience speaks in volume that 1.8 kg and above should be breastfed. Most of them will be neurologically better and above 34 kgs. And India is known to have IUGR babies because of the maternal malnutrition. Plus, World Breastfeeding Week should not be the time for celebrations. It should be a celebration all 365 days and 24/7, because whenever the baby is born, this is what is required, and it is never ending. And this is only to sensitize people, and this has to continue practically. There are a lot of mechanisms. Imagine, Madam started working this 35 years before, and still she is a very strong ardent, advocacy person for all of us and a guide, because that is the input. It is never ending. It doesn't happen only with few people working. It is all of us who have to work. We have to bring in the next generation. That I think you were mentioning in the next generation suffers because of the environment. I also would like to add, Pallavi, to your statement. The next generation of children also suffer by not effectively breastfeeding and successfully breastfeeding. And another most important point Madam has brought is the weight loss, the fat loss in women, because most of them are beauty conscious. And generally by 1 year, mothers do put on weight, because the energy needs to be stored in the mothers naturally, because beyond 1 year, baby needs more calories. Baby is growing. More milk needs to be produced, more than a liter per day. So she naturally, the body, stores the fat, and after 1 year to next, almost 6 months to 12 months, they start losing the weight as exactly shown on that picture, depicted in that slide, and then they reach the pre-pregnancy weight. The risk for obesity is absolutely zero for mothers, and they regain their figure by 24 months of age. That's why minimum duration of breastfeeding is up to 24 months and beyond as possible. And crying is not necessarily hunger. That's wonderful. There are so many reasons. Let us not go into the details. We have to look at what it is. Baby passes a urine, it is time to pass stools, or after passing the urine it is wet, they cry, they are uncomfortable, woolen cloth is prickly, environmental changes, the cold, etc. So there are benefits are well told by you, and its relationship to environment, and Madam has told about the benefits and the practicality of it. I had an opportunity to present one of the project to sir. I think he made time that day and invited me. How to build resources in medical colleges for infant and young child feeding. I think sir knows about it much more than all of us. But what needs to be done is MCA has given an opportunity for us, the NMC, that we have to teach on IYCF. So making this as an opportunity, I think Madam can take the leadership, and Sir is there always to guide us. And you people committed like you are a natural torchbearer, Pallavi. You should also get into an additional activity of IYCF. It is this week is like a festival for all of us, which you are part of the team then. And these things should continue. The IVCF training should happen for all the medical college, OBG, pediatrics, community medicine, and the anesthetist, so that nursing college, so that this team will work in each college as skill building. I will not say knowledge. See, it is an era of communication and knowledge. We have enough, but what to practice, how to do it is difficult. We can speak in volumes about the theory part of it, but what we need to focus is giving the practical help. Madam has shown few beautiful slides. How to put the baby, what is a good latch. Don't bring the breast to the baby. Baby has to be brought to the breast. There are very good, slogans. We need to work on this, build the skills, and make it happen. I think more number of studies have to come from all the medical colleges. We have to develop our own data that will reflect what is our status, what is the national target that we have to reach, and then make sure after giving this intervention, how are we going to reach at it. I'll give one example of Chikbalapur district. You please go through the statistics. 287 SAM cases were there 3 years back. Now it is still 280. What has not happened is, though Chikbalapur has a what do you call the SAM centers, especially to take care of these nutrition centers. What has not happened is, food is given, money is spent, people are there. The mothers have not transformed. Unless the mothers develop these skills to do the things in the right way, we will not be able to achieve, despite having labor money being paid to them, good nutrition is given, they stay in the center. There are good supervisors who have been trained. Unless the mothers, the behavior to feed the child changes, it is not going to be successful. I think with these remarks, I thank our Honorable VC Sir for this wonderful opportunity given. It's an honor to me that to chair this session with our stalwart champion, Asha Benkappa Madam, and also Dr. Pallavi. I think you spoke well. Like as I said, ಹರಳು ಹುರಿದಂತೆ ಮಾತನಾಡುವ ಹುಡುಗಿ. Yeah, wonderful. I'm happy to know that you are from Channagiri, next to my place. I think it's a wonderful message to all of them. This video has to be uploaded. A message has to be sent to all the medical colleges through our Honorable VC Sir, so that let us move forward from whatever we have achieved now to the targets that we are yet to achieve. Thank you. Thank you for your listening. Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I thank. Am I audible? I hope okay. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you are audible. You are audible.
Thank you so much, sir. As you rightly said, there is enough knowledge everywhere. Now the step is to bring that into skill and then into the practice. So how we do it, and as you told, with the guidance of stalwart like Dr. Asha Benkappa and you, and with the support and encouragement of our Honorable VC Sir, hope we do many more work in this field to promote more of this wonderful initiative to make this planet healthy. Thank you, Asha Benkappa Madam. Thank you, sir. And thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, for organizing this event and supporting us. Thanks to our Registrar, sir, who wholeheartedly agreed and gave a green signal to go ahead with this webinar. Thanks to Mr. Kirti and Vanamurthy for coordinating this event. And thanks one and all. Thanks again.